The man lets a homeless black woman take a shower in his house, but when he finds out who she is, he is shocked. Mark, a middle-aged white man with a generous heart, lived alone in a quiet neighborhood in a small American town. On that cold winter night, as he returned from work, he found Lisa, a homeless black woman, huddled in the cold on a bench in the nearby park. Touched by her situation and remembering his own sister who had been lost to the streets years ago, Mark decided to help Lisa. He approached her with a warm smile and offered her a hot meal and a place to take a bath. Lisa, initially hesitant and distrustful due to countless rejections and prejudices she had faced, accepted Mark's offer with gratitude. Mark took Lisa to his home, a modest 2-bedroom house. He prepared a hot bath for her and gave her clean clothes that belonged to his late wife. While Lisa was bathing, Mark decided to quickly go to the market to buy some more groceries. When Mark returned, he was surprised to see a police car parked in front of his house. His heart raced, and a sense of panic washed over him. 2 officers were at the door talking to Lisa, who looked visibly uncomfortable and was trying to explain the situation. Mark approached quickly and asked the officers in a firm voice what was happening. They explained that they had received a call from a concerned neighbor about a stranger in his house. Indignant, Mark defended Lisa and explained that he had invited her in to take a bath and eat. The officers, sensing Mark's sincerity and Lisa's situation, apologized for the inconvenience and left. Mark then turned to Lisa, who was clearly shaken by the experience. He calmed her down and encouraged her to share her story. Lisa revealed that she was a war veteran who, after returning home, suffered severe trauma that led her to lose her family, her home, and eventually her dignity. She had spent years on the streets, being ignored and treated as invisible. Moved by compassion and determination, Mark decided not just to offer Lisa a temporary place to stay, but also to help her rebuild her life. He supported her in seeking treatment for her trauma and helped her find a job. Over time, Lisa began to regain her self-esteem and reconnect with society. The story of Mark and Lisa spread through the neighborhood, inspiring others to be more compassionate and less prejudiced. Their relationship strengthened, and together they proved that with love and understanding, lives can be transformed. In the days that followed, Mark and Lisa established a routine. Mark would leave for work at the local grocery store early in the morning, while Lisa stayed home, helping with household chores and beginning to recover physically. In the evenings, they shared stories, creating an ever-stronger bond. Lisa, initially withdrawn, gradually began to trust Mark. She opened up about the horrors she faced in the war and the emptiness she felt upon returning home. Mark, in turn, shared memories of his sister Sarah and how her loss still deeply affected him. One night, Mark returned home with a stack of papers. "Lisa, I found some options for clinics that offer treatment for veterans. I think it would be good for you to consider this possibility," he said, with an encouraging smile. Lisa took the papers and read them carefully. "Thank you, Mark. I really appreciate everything you're doing for me, but I don't even know where to start." "You don't have to do this alone. I'll be here to help," Mark responded, holding Lisa's hand. Gradually, Lisa began to attend a local clinic that offered psychological treatment and support for veterans. Over time, she started making significant progress, regaining her self-esteem and hope. One day, while tidying up the house, Mark found an old family photo. He looked at the image of Sarah, his younger sister, and felt a wave of sadness. He decided then to share another part of his story with Lisa. "Lisa, I need to tell you something about my sister Sarah. She disappeared many years ago. Whenever I see someone homeless, I think of her," Mark said, his voice trembling. Lisa looked at the photo and recognized a familiar face. "Mark, I think I've seen your sister. She was on the streets in a nearby city a few years ago." Mark was in shock. "Are you sure? How was she?" "I don't know where she is now, but she was alive the last time I saw her. She seemed to be looking for someone," Lisa replied with a tone of sadness. Mark felt a mixture of hope and fear. If Sarah was still alive, he needed to find her, but where to start? Lisa, seeing Mark's determination, decided to help him in his search. Together, they began to gather information about Sarah. They visited shelters, talked to social workers, and put up posters around the city. The search was exhausting, but Mark didn't give up. Each small clue brought a new breath of hope. One rainy afternoon, while walking through the city's streets, they met a man who knew Sarah. He told them that Sarah was living in a nearby shelter but was very sick. Mark and Lisa rushed to the shelter, feeling a mix of anxiety and anticipation. When they arrived, they were led to a small room where Sarah was lying. Mark could hardly believe his eyes. His sister was there, frail and weakened, but still recognizable. "Sarah, it's me, Mark. I'm here," he said, tears in his eyes. Sarah opened her eyes slowly, recognizing her brother's voice. "Mark, is it really you?" she asked, her voice weak. "Yes, it's me. I came to get you. You're going to be okay now," Mark replied, holding Sarah's hand. Lisa watched the scene, feeling deep gratitude. She knew that despite her own challenges, she had found a family and a purpose. With Mark and Lisa's help, Sarah was transferred to a hospital where she received the necessary care. Gradually, she began to recover, and the relationship between the siblings was rebuilt. Mark continued to support Lisa in her recovery while also taking care of Sarah. The presence of the two women in his life brought a new dynamic, and he felt that he was finally beginning to find peace. Inspired by Mark's determination, Lisa decided that she wanted to do more to give back the help she had received. She began looking for a job, determined to reintegrate into society. With Mark's help, she got an interview at a local small business. "Are you ready for this?" Mark asked on the day of the interview. Lisa nodded, confident. "Yes, I am, and no matter what happens, I'm grateful to you for giving me this chance." The interview was a success, and Lisa got the job. She returned home with a smile on her face, feeling that she was finally on the right track. Mark and Lisa continued to work together, helping not only Sarah but also other people in the community. Their story spread, inspiring others to be more compassionate and to help those in need. The bond between Mark, Lisa, and Sarah grew stronger every day. They proved that with love and understanding, it was possible to transform lives and find redemption. Over time, the routine of Mark, Lisa, and Sarah stabilized. Lisa was adapting well to her new job, and Sarah, though still frail, was showing signs of recovery. The small circle of friendship and support they had formed became a source of strength for all. One afternoon, as Lisa was returning from work, she decided to stop at a local cafe. She sat in a quiet corner, enjoying a rare moment of peace. That's when she heard someone mention the name Megan. Lisa turned, intrigued. Megan was the name of her daughter, whom she hadn't seen in years. She approached the table where two women were talking. "Excuse me, I couldn't help but overhear. You mentioned a Megan. May I ask who you're talking about?" The women looked at Lisa, a bit surprised, but they saw her sincerity. One of them replied, "Megan is my niece. She lives here in the city, but has been going through tough times since her mother passed away. Why do you ask?" Lisa felt a wave of emotions. Could it be the same Megan? Her Megan? With her heart racing, she asked, "Please, could you give me more information? I'm her mother. I lost touch with her years ago." The women were shocked, but one of them, recognizing the genuine anguish in Lisa's eyes, decided to help. She gave her Megan's address, hoping she really was who she said she was. Lisa rushed home, agitated. She found Mark in the kitchen and told him what had happened. "Mark, I think I found a lead on my daughter. We need to go to this address." Mark, always ready to help, grabbed the car keys. They drove to the older part of the city, where the houses seemed laden with stories and memories. When they reached the address, Lisa hesitated. Mark, sensing her nervousness, squeezed her hand. "We'll go together, Lisa. No matter what happens, we're here for you." They approached the door and knocked. A young woman opened it, with eyes that immediately reminded Lisa of her late husband. "Megan?" she asked, her voice trembling. The young woman looked at her, confused but with growing curiosity. "Yes, I'm Megan. Who are you?" "I'm your mother, Lisa. I know I've been gone for many years, but I've come back to find you." Megan stepped back, surprised and skeptical. "My mother disappeared years ago. How do I know you're really her?" Lisa pulled a crumpled photo from her pocket. It was an old photo of Megan, her and her husband, taken when she was just a child. "This was our family. Your father took this picture on your 6th birthday. You had just gotten the doll you wanted so much." Megan looked at the photo, and a mix of emotions overwhelmed her. Forgotten memories began to resurface, and she felt a tightness in her heart. "Mom," she said, tears in her eyes, They embraced, both crying. Mark, watching the scene, felt a deep joy. Another life was being transformed. Megan told her story. After Lisa disappeared, life became very difficult for her and her father. They moved several times, and her father never got over the loss. Megan ended up alone when her father passed away, struggling to stay afloat. "I'm so sorry for everything you went through, Megan. I was lost, but now I'm here, and I promise I'll never leave you alone again," Lisa said with renewed firmness. In the days that followed, Lisa and Megan began to rebuild their relationship. Mark, always present, helped strengthen this new family bond. However, a new challenge emerged. One day, while Mark was at work, a tall, imposing man entered the grocery store. He seemed out of place, with a cold, calculating look. Mark tried to stay calm as he served him, but something about the man made him uneasy. "I need to talk to you, Mark," he said with an authoritative voice. "Sorry, do I know you?" he asked, trying to hide his apprehension. "You don't know me, but I know you, and I know you're helping Lisa. My name is Richard. Lisa witnessed something she shouldn't have seen, and I'm here to make sure she doesn't cause trouble." Mark felt a chill down his spine. "What do you mean?" Richard smiled, but there was no warmth in his smile. "Just tell Lisa I'm in town and that she should stay silent about what she saw, or there will be consequences." Mark stood in silence, watching Richard leave. He felt a mix of fear and worry. When he got home, he found Lisa and Megan. He told them what happened, and Lisa turned pale. "Richard was my ex-partner. He was involved in dirty business, and I found out. He tried to silence me, and when I fled, my life fell apart." Mark held Lisa's hand. "We need to do something. We can't let him intimidate us." Lisa knew that facing Richard meant taking a risk, but with Mark and Megan by her side, she felt stronger. They decided to go to the police, tell the whole story, and ask for protection. Lisa and Mark's decision to report Richard brought a new wave of tension, but also community support. Their courage inspired others to speak out, and the police began an investigation into Richard's activities. Lisa, Mark, and Megan would face challenges together, but now they were united by bonds of love and courage. Each day was a new battle, but also a new opportunity to show that redemption and justice were possible. The decision to go to the police brought new tensions to the lives of Mark, Lisa, and Megan. The following days were a mix of uncertainty and hope. The police, realizing the seriousness of the accusations against Richard, placed the family under protection. However, the shadow of the threat persisted. One morning, while preparing coffee, Mark looked at Lisa, who was sitting at the table, leafing through a newspaper. Her expression was worried, and Mark knew that the pressure was mounting. He approached and placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "We'll get through this together, Lisa. We have the police and our community on our side," he said, trying to convey confidence. Lisa looked at him, grateful. "I know, Mark, but I fear what Richard might do. He's dangerous." Megan, who had been listening to the conversation, joined them. "Mom, we have to be strong. I lost you once, and I don't want to lose you again. We need to fight." Megan's determination was contagious. Lisa nodded, determined not to let fear control them. She knew the battle wouldn't be easy, but she was ready to face Richard. That afternoon, Lisa received a call from the detective in charge of the case. The investigation was progressing, and the police had found substantial evidence against Richard. The detective suggested that Lisa, Mark, and Megan appear in court to testify. The day of the trial came quickly. Mark, Lisa, and Megan sat on the witness stand, surrounded by friends and neighbors who came to offer support. Richard sat on the other side of the room with a cold, disdainful smile on his face. The prosecutor began presenting the evidence against Richard, revealing a network of criminal activities that included money laundering and extortion. Lisa was called to the stand to testify. She recounted her story in detail, from her initial partnership with Richard to the moment she discovered the truth and was forced to flee. As Lisa spoke, Mark felt a wave of pride. She was facing her fears and helping to bring justice. When Lisa finished, there was a tense silence in the courtroom. Richard, however, was not ready to give up. He began mocking Lisa, trying to discredit her. "Lisa was always a failure. She's making up this story to cover her own mistakes," Richard said, with a tone of disdain. Mark couldn't stay silent. He stood up and with a firm voice defended Lisa. "Lisa is a brave woman who faced her adversities and is here today to tell the truth. It's you, Richard, who is trying to hide your crimes. The judge called for silence in the court, but Mark's words had a strong impact. His testimony and the strength of his conviction helped strengthen the case against Richard. After days of testimonies and presentation of evidence, the verdict finally arrived. Richard was found guilty on all charges. The courtroom erupted in applause, and Lisa felt a huge weight lifted off her shoulders. She turned to Mark and Megan, tears in her eyes. "We did it," she said, her voice choked. Mark hugged Lisa, feeling immense gratitude. Megan joined the embrace, and the three stood there, united in a moment that symbolized the end of a nightmare and the beginning of a new life. With Richard in prison, life began to stabilize again. Lisa continued working and attending therapy sessions. Mark and Megan were by her side every step of the way, offering unconditional support and love. One day, as they walked through the park, Lisa stopped and looked at Mark and Megan. "I never imagined I could find peace and happiness again, but you gave me that. I'm eternally grateful," she said with a sincere smile. Mark held Lisa's hand. "You deserve all the happiness, Lisa. We're here to build a future together." Megan, smiling, added, "And nothing can stop us now." The future was uncertain, but Mark, Lisa, and Megan knew that with love and support, they could overcome any obstacle. They were ready to continue their mission, transforming lives and spreading hope wherever they went. With Richard in prison, the lives of Mark, Lisa, and Megan entered a new phase of tranquility and reconstruction. The tensions diminished, and the community began to recover from the impact of Richard's crimes. The trio found comfort in their daily routine and in each other's support. Lisa continued her work at the small local business, earning respect and admiration from her colleagues. She was often seen talking to veterans and other vulnerable individuals, offering advice and support. Lisa's experience inspired many, and she became a beloved figure in the community. Mark, in turn, found new ways to help those in need. He began organizing community events to raise funds and resources for the homeless. His compassion and determination were widely recognized, and he received several honors for his work. One day, Mark decided it was time to take a step further. He gathered Lisa and Megan in the living room, his eyes shining with excitement. "I have an idea," he said animatedly. "What if we open a community center to help homeless people and veterans like you, Lisa?" Lisa and Megan exchanged surprised but enthusiastic looks. "That would be amazing, Mark," Lisa replied. "We could offer shelter, food, and reintegration programs." Megan nodded, excited. "I could help with the administrative part and organize fundraising events. It would be a way to give back everything we received." With the decision made, they began working on the project. They counted on the support of the community and various local organizations. In a short time, they secured a location for the community center and began renovations. The opening of the center was an emotional event. Friends, neighbors, and many who had been touched by Mark, Lisa, and Megan's story came to show their support. The community center was named House of Hope, a name that reflected the journey of all those involved. During the opening ceremony, Lisa gave a moving speech. "Life can knock us down in ways we never imagined, but with love, support, and determination, we can get back up again. This center is proof that redemption and hope are possible," she said, tears in her eyes. Mark, holding Lisa's hand, added, "Everyone deserves a second chance, and here we'll offer that to everyone who needs it." The community center quickly became a beacon for those seeking help. They offered everything from hot meals and shelter to rehabilitation programs and job opportunities. Mark, Lisa, and Megan were always present, working tirelessly to improve the lives of those who passed through. Sarah, despite her slow recovery, also found a purpose at the center. She helped in the kitchen, preparing meals, and talking to visitors. The experience of almost losing everything and then finding new meaning in life transformed her, and she wanted to share this new perspective with others. As time passed, the House of Hope became more than a shelter. It became a community where people could find support, friendship, and a chance to start over. The story of Mark, Lisa, and Megan continued to inspire many, and the community center grew, receiving donations and volunteers from all over the country. A year after the center's opening, Mark, Lisa, Megan, and Sarah were gathered for a celebratory dinner. The room was filled with laughter and animated conversations. They reflected on everything they had accomplished and the impact they were having. Who would have thought that a cold night and a decision to help a stranger would lead us here? Mark said, looking at Lisa. Lisa smiled, holding Mark's hand. You changed my life, Mark, and together we changed the lives of many others. I'm eternally grateful. Megan, with a sparkle in her eyes, added, We're a family, and together we can face any challenge that comes our way. The future was uncertain, but Mark, Lisa, Megan, and Sarah knew that with love and support, they could overcome any obstacle. They were ready to continue their mission, transforming lives and spreading hope wherever they went. The message of the House of Hope was clear. Everyone deserves a chance at redemption, and with compassion and determination, it's possible to transform lives. Mark, Lisa, Megan, and Sarah proved that love and understanding are the most powerful forces in the world, capable of healing the deepest wounds and bringing light even in the darkest moments. And so, the journey of redemption and hope for Mark, Lisa, Megan, and Sarah continued, inspiring generations and showing that together we can build a better world.